Hi, Hayley here at hhwellness.com.au. I help beautiful mamas tired from juggling kids and work and home life reconnect and rediscover who they are so they can live hassle-free, joyful, purposeful lives. Now today I'm sharing this month's blog. It's part 2 of Who Am I? Reconnecting and Rediscovering Who I Am After Kids. Now if you haven't seen or read part 1, you can go to hhwellness.com.au/blog and just have a look at my story. I just really wanted to share how it is that I got to where I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So not long ago, I was not in a really great place, really disconnected, really unhappy, just sort of living in that fog, not knowing who I was or where I was going. I was so disconnected. So it's just letting you know my story so that you're going to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing now and how I got to doing what I'm doing. So that's part 1. So part 2 today, and with this month's blog, I just really want to share with you the process that I went through to get from being in that place of disconnect and not knowing who I was, what I wanted from my life, living in Groundhog Day, just feeling really unfulfilled. So how I got from there to where I am today, which is open up my own business, doing what I love, and just really following my happiness and making those decisions that are leading towards my happiness and my joy. That's where I want you to be. So as mums, we are never going to be comfortable putting ourselves first, right? We're always going to have mum guilt. And our kids are really, really important. But what we want to make sure that we're doing is giving the right amount of energy to each one, okay? But most importantly, we need to start with giving us that, like ourselves, that energy first. You know, we all know that, metaphor that we need to make sure our cup is full first before we start giving to everybody else. And as mums, most of the time we're operating on empty at the end of the day, right? We really are. So we just need to learn to make sure that we're filling up our cup and we're doing everything we need to do that so that we can give more to our family. Now, we spend a lot of money and a lot of time when it comes to our kids on learning. We'll go to any free event or watch any webinar on, teaching our kids resilience, how we teach them to be happy, how we handle tantrums and sibling rivalry and, making sure that they're confident in themselves, they're happy within themselves, which is fantastic, and we need those tools. But at the end of the day, especially for kids under 10, the way that they do not have the capacity to mentally process emotions and what's going on around them. They pick a lot up on what they're seeing and the energy of what they're seeing. So you can be saying one thing with your words, but have that energy of anger or aggression or like that thing behind it, and that's what they're going to pick up on, right? So you're a mentor for your child in your life. If you want to teach your kid resilience, what happiness is, what a great relationship is, how to communicate well, they are going to pick that up more from what you are showing them and the energy that you are giving off, right? So bottom line is, if you want your kid to be a beautiful, happy adult, you need to be a beautiful, happy adult because you need to show them what that looks like. So the best way to show it for your kids and teach them that is for you to be that. So we can't, but like I said, we can't give ourselves fully to our kids if we're not filling our cup and doing what we want. So let's talk about how we do that. Step 1, first step of the process, we need to get back to connecting to ourselves. We need to connect to our heart space and to who we are. We also need to learn to connect to something greater than ourselves, okay? Now, whatever it is that you believe in, whether it's God or a universal energy, or you just believe in like a love energy, because the bottom line is that's there. At the end of the day, I'm not going to sugarcoat or be funny about it, but we are 99.99999% energy and 0.0000000% matter, right? Everything is energy. Our emotions give off energy. Our organs vibrate on different energy frequencies. And that is what everything revolves around the most, okay? So we need to make sure our energy is full and loving and free from all that negative icky, because like I said, that's what kids pick up on the most. So we need to connect to ourselves, into our heart space, and we need to connect to that universal energy, which is basically just a beautiful love energy, and we need to fill ourselves up with that. That'll help us to fill our cup. So how do we connect to ourselves? Meditation and little meditation techniques is the best way to stop and focus and to get everything back in alignment. Now, doing a full-on meditation, 45 minutes to an hour, is great, but, as busy mums, we're not going to be able to do that every day. So if you can do that maybe once a week, twice a week, that'd be really great. But, as mums, like I said, we're very busy. We need to find techniques that are quick and short and sharp and shiny. So learning different breathing techniques, little gratitude techniques, journaling are all really great. I do have a blog of 8 tips for busy mums for meditations, like 8 quick meditations that you can do. So again, you can go to hhwellness.com.au/blog and have a look at that one too. There's some techniques on there that you can use. Because what we really want to get used to doing is tuning in. We want to tune into what's going on with our emotions, come back to the present moment, tune into what's happening with our body, and like I said, really start getting into that heart space and connecting to that, and also obviously to something greater than ourselves as well. The other thing in this step that we want to do, why we want to start connecting, is because we really want to start finding that self-love. It's getting that self-love back, having self-compassion, self-forgiveness, respect for ourselves, because if we don't love ourselves and respect ourselves, there's no way that when faced with a choice, we're going to choose something towards our happiness. Yeah? So we need to love and respect ourselves in order to keep following that path of happiness. Otherwise, we're not going to think we deserve it, and that we're not going to think that we're enough to have that, okay? So they're the first couple of steps. Well, that's within the first step. We want to connect and find that self-love, okay? Also, I do have a blog on finding self-love and also a self-love roadmap that you can follow. I'm actually going to put that at the bottom of this blog so you can click through and have a look at that too. So step 1, connecting and finding that self-love. So the next step is discovering. We want to get back to rediscovering. Now, I actually don't want to use the word rediscovering, because what I always thought, and what I thought in the beginning, was that I had to get back to who I was before. I thought that if I kept dancing, went to a dance class, tried to find a band to sing in, that I was going to, that was going to fix it, that's the hole that needed fixing, right? But what it actually is the fact that I've changed. As a mum now, you've changed, you're different, your priorities are different, you're probably a bit older. Well, you are a bit older, not probably a bit older now, you are a bit older now. So we start to look at things differently and see things differently. And what I realised was that it wasn't about going back to who I was, it was finding out who I am now, and that's what we need to do. When we're discovering now, we need to discover those things that bring us joy now, that make us happy now. Before time, like a time out and filling up was going out with people and getting hammered and having a big dance, which is fine if you still want to do that, but for me, that wasn't going to do it anymore, because the thought of that actually just made me really tired about like going out at 9 o'clock, leaving the house at 9 o'clock at night and coming back at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then having to get up at 7 o'clock and look after kids actually just made me exhausted. So I realized that that actually wasn't really what I wanted anymore. It wasn't really going to be what I needed. So that's what this discovering part's about. And this is the part where we need to start asking ourselves a lot of questions. And once we're connecting and once we've found that self-love, we can ask these questions and answer them really, really honestly, because that's what we want to be doing. We want to be answering these questions really, really honestly. So questions like, what brings me joy now? What makes me laugh? What do I really want to spend my time doing? Like, where's my time distributed? What are my priorities now that I'm older and wiser and different? But then asking questions like, what do I believe my limiting beliefs are? Like, and what are my fears? Like, why am I now not putting myself first? Like, what's the issue? Is it because I feel guilty? Is it because, in my upbringing, my mum was always about us, and she never did anything for herself, like, what are the things that you saw around you as a child that relate to parenting and relate to being a mum? So like I said, what are your fears, and what's not working for you in your life, and sometimes asking what we want, we go, well, I don't know at this point, you know what I mean? Like, that's where I was. It was like, well, what do I want? And I just didn't know. So ask yourself what you don't want. Go the opposite. Write down all the things that you don't want in your life, and that'll start that process of elimination. And you'll start to figure out what it is that you do want. So, and then are there any patterns in your life, like negative patterns? So, like let's say one for me was I used to get really annoyed at my husband when he sort of questioned what I was doing. So, like even just little things like, if I was cooking a meal in the kitchen and he'd do the thing where, he comes up behind you and goes, oh, are you supposed to be doing that now? And I get so, so angry, like straight away, like I'd crack it. And it's because of trust. Like, don't you trust me to do this thing right? Like, I know what I'm doing. Don't judge me. Like, don't put your stuff on me. I know what I'm doing. Can you please just let me do it? And that was a childhood thing as well. And that was something that I had to clear from my childhood. So it's little things like that you want to start looking at. Okay, well, where in my life do I tend to like really arc up straight away? Where do I tend to get really angry and snappy straight away? And what's behind that? Just start questioning. And you don't have to answer all these questions straight away. It's just a matter of starting to become self-aware. That's what this discovering is about, becoming self-aware, being aware of all the things that you love, and then becoming aware of all the things that, all those patterns that are coming up in your life. And not necessarily negative, but those patterns, like I said, where you tend to sort of arc up a little bit easier or get sad a little bit easier, and trying to find out what those patterns are and what's behind them so that we're ready for the next step, which is the healing process, okay? So we've looked at connection and self-love, and that's allowed us to start really discovering and getting to the bottom of who we are and what we want and what's in the way from getting what we want. So what are those fears behind what's stopping us moving forward and following that path of happiness? And so now step 3 is healing. So like I was saying, like there's different core beliefs and different things that have happened to us and that have created all these little onion layers upon us. And we want to start getting rid of those onion layers, because the more we get rid of those layers, the closer we're going to be able to get to our heart space. Okay, so it's sort of like an ongoing process that goes round and round like this. So we connect, we ask the question, we find out what's in the way, and then we heal it. And then the next onion layer will start to come up and you'll get a little bit closer connected. You'll ask the questions, you'll find what's behind it, and you'll heal it, and so on and so forth. And that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming for a natural flow of a process that does not disrupt our lives. It's not about going, right, I'm going to heal everything right now and blah, 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 blah. That's not what we want. We want to make sure that this process is just a natural thing that occurs throughout our life. We go, oh, that's coming up for me right now. Why is that? This is the question. Okay, what's in the way? What's behind it? All right, I know I have all these tools to heal it, and I'll do that now without it being disrupting or, like throwing us off track too much, okay? So healing is the next point. So with our healing, like I said, we just want to get rid of all those negative core beliefs, all those onion layers, get rid of those negative emotions, heal situations that have happened in our past, heal that inner child, heal that energy so that we can clear it and move forward, right? And then, like I said, the next one will come in and then we'll do it all over again, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. It's excellent. It's so amazing. And it's so amazing how, like, just clearing one little thing ripples out into so many other things. So you think it's only this tiny thing, but it actually affects quite a lot of your life and quite a lot of different areas. It's really fantastic. So with the healing, like I said, clearing all those things, we can do this through different meditations. You can have energy healings, counseling, affirmation, use affirmation, but we really want to clear that so that we can move forward. So yeah, it just breaks us through all those barriers so that we start making better decisions for ourselves. And it's so important to heal for our overall well-being. I've also got a blog about how our emotions affect our physical body. So you can also see that on the blog as well. So like I said, we're mostly energy and only a little bit matter. And those negative energies have such a low, those fear-based energies vibrate on a really low frequency, right? And if that gets into our aura, it gets into our energy system, and all those energy systems relate to different parts of the body. And what will happen is that will start then going into those areas, and that's when we start to see disease within the body. So whether it's continuous headaches, continuous sinus problems, continuous sore throats, consider it's gut issues, Did I just say considerate? I meant continuous. Continuous gut issues, back problems. A lot of that comes from unresolved negative emotion. So we really do need to make sure that we're clearing all that sort of stuff, because it's not just about who we are and how we're showing up for ourselves. It's also about taking care of our physical well-being as well. So step 3, healing through meditation, affirmation, energy healings, and seeing a counsellor, so that we're clearing all of those negative core beliefs, helping our inner child, letting go of the past, forgiving ourselves, forgiving others, all that sort of stuff, yeah? So I'm going to go back through the steps each time. So we've got connecting and self-love to start off with, discovering and asking those questions and finding out what's behind why you're not doing it is that you want to do and why you're not where you want to be. And then in the last step, what we can do once we're starting to heal ourselves and making sure that this is all working properly and that we're making the right decisions for ourselves, we can flow that out into our lives, right? So we can start to move this into not just being about us. It'll be about how we see our family, what we want our family life to be like, what we want our partnership to be like, what we want our work and our finances to be like, what we want to do within our community, what we want to do within our friends, like with our friends and on that level as well. So it sort of breaks out into 4 parts. So, this is where it's good to start. So it's about energy distribution. So what your priorities are between self, family, friendships and community, and work and finances. And then so we start spreading. It's almost sort of like, I suppose you'd call it the manifesting stage, and making sure that this beautiful energy is starting to flow into these other areas of your life, so that you're making these areas what you want them to be, and you're choosing that direction of happiness within all of these areas. So we want to, design our life and let it flow down into that. So you might be asking questions like, am I happy where I live? What do I want my retirement to look like? Am I happy within my work? Am I always complaining about my finances, or do I have a really great energy relationship with money? How are my relationships with my parents, my siblings? What's going on with the kids? What can I start doing there? What can I do within my partner? So we start allowing that energy to flow out. And you will notice as you start this process and you start reconnecting, you're finding self-love, you're asking those questions, you're clearing what's the fear-based stuff behind why you're not moving forward, that will actually start naturally flowing out into the rest of your life, yeah, which is fantastic, because everything you're doing is just in an energy of love and for your greatest happiness, and that does flow out into everything else. But you can also start purposely flowing it out into all of that as well. So that's step number 4. So we've got connecting and finding self-love in the first step, discovering who you are, so asking all those questions and asking why it is that you're not doing that. So finding that fear-based thing behind why you're not doing it, and all those little onion layers, all those little negative core beliefs and negative things that you're still hanging on to. Step 3 is healing all those things so that we can let go of them. And step 4, just allowing that to flow down into all the other areas of your life, so that you are starting to really live the happiest you can in all the areas, and attracting so much beautiful love and abundance into your life. So that's that for today. Like I said, there's down the bottom of this blog there are some links into things that can help you with this. So the number 1 place to start obviously is with the connection and the self-love. If you're looking at all that going, oh my God, that sounds really complicated, or that sounds like a lot, you've got to start at number 1. Practice connecting and work on your self-love. Okay, just do that for now, and all the other stuff will start to follow. So you can grab your Busy Mum's Guide to Meditation here too. So that's just to help you understand, because as mums we just go, oh my God, I don't have time to meditate. Like, how can I meditate with all these kids running around the house? But these tips will really help you to understand how you can actually do that and work meditation into your life without it being a problem. So there's other freebies down there. I've got a free 10-minute guided relaxation meditation, 5 steps to perfect manifestation as well, which you can have a look at. And like I said before, there's also the self-love roadmap that you can grab as well. So there's so many freebies on my website for you to help you start moving. And thank you so much. And you can also subscribe on Facebook. So it's www.facebook.com/holistic wellness 78. I nearly forgot then, but that's it. But there'll be a link down the bottom of the blog as well, so that you can do that. If you're watching on YouTube, I will put a link through to my blog, a link through to my website, and a link through to Facebook as well. So thank you so much for joining me. Please reach out if you need anything. I'm happy to do. I am an holistic counsellor, a Reiki master, a meditation teacher. So if you would like, I'm happy for you to contact me. We can have a free 30-minute phone consult, or like Messenger or Zoom consult, so we can have a little chat face-to-face. And I can point you in the direction. We can see if there's anything that I can do for you. I'd be so happy to do that. It can all be done online nowadays. Isn't life fantastic with technology? So I just really hope that you can start connecting, get into your meditating, because I really, really, really want you to understand that, like, I know, like, it can feel like we're stuck and there's not really a way out. We feel like there's a piece of us missing, but I'm telling you, you can get out of that. I did, and I really want to help you do that too. All right. So thank you, and I hope to connect with you soon.